Thank you for joining us. I'm Paul Wilson.
And I'm Chris Ehmke.
And this is Diesel Performance Podcast. Guys, we got a true expert at being a podcast guest, one of our favorite all-time guests, Tony Burkhard from Dirty Hooker Diesel. Tony, how the hell are you?
All right. If I can be an expert at something, that's maybe doing podcasts.
We all have to be good at something.
I have it on my signature, on my email signature, co-host,
professional podcaster.
Yeah.
You know what an expert is, don't you?
No, hit me.
I just pronounce it out. So, expert.
Love it.
That's Paul's new motto.
Is that enough? I told you enough. Right?
No. Yeah. I think we got it.
Oh,
and if you didn't, if you're listening to this and you didn't get it, ask your dad.
Yeah, I just got to tell you, it's dad jokes all the way.
All right, so Tony, we got you back on the show today because we are wrapping up to UCC 2023 faster than I can even imagine.
That's crazy.
God, let's start off with the basic questions. Is the truck ready? Are you ready to roll for UCC this year?
We're actually thinking about pulling it in the shop here today, maybe.
Oh.
Okay. Now, you guys, there's been one race for ODSS already this year, right?
Rudy's?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so how did the Rudies go for you?
We struggled the whole time. I mean, we finished second place, but we're kind of starting over with kind of a new truck. I mean, we've changed a few things. Cubic inches, turbo size, and gearing and transmission.
Oh, wow.
Just a few things.
Just a couple.
Yeah. I mean, even when you change one thing, it's like starting over with a new truck, right?
Yeah.
And so we had, it was a tough road because we went to Rudy's day early to do some testing, and we had one hit, and we had some issues that consumed us for the rest of the day. And then we go into Friday and qualifiers. There was only 2 qualifiers, and then go into eliminations. And we really didn't. Maybe we made one pass down the track. I don't know, 5.3 or something like that. We're just trying to learn the truck all over again, and Ziegler, he was hitting 490s, and so we made it into the final round up against Ziegler, and Tyler again, had 0.2 of them at the tree, but Ziegler had 1/10 of us down at the end. So I mean, we were close, but we just have so many things we're ironing out.
So one of the things that kind of popped in my head, I've got a bunch of questions, by the way, but if memory serves me correctly, you guys came out Rudy's spring event 2022, guns blazing, set some records, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
It's a good question.
I remember there being some social media posts.
I thought that's where you guys hit the first 490, right?
I thought something.
I thought we did that at UCC.
Oh, at UCC. Okay.
There was something Rudy's spring event. Maybe it was just that it was the Duramax, finally doing something good
Tyler
for once.
First.
Yep.
But were you hoping to go into Rudy's this year with a better outcome, or did you guys know that you were going to have some challenges ahead of you, and it kind of was what it was?
Oh, we knew we were going to have to. We knew we were going to have to battle it out a little bit. There's when that's the thing with the pro classes. I mean, the pro 590, but the other classes, it's all out, right? You gotta have it all hanging out and making that truck go down the track. Any of the index classes, that's not running the track or the truck to its
full potential.
Right? Right. So we're always constantly trying to go faster. If we were in index class, we met it, right? We're good. We're there within 100th. We're good. You're not constantly wrenching, thinking, tuning the track conditions from track event to event. Don't change a whole lot, right? It might be a 1/10 of a second for some of those guys and make a little adjustments, but man, when you're trying to get it all, it's a job.
So the next question that I have,
I got a few to unpack here too.
Yeah.
So yeah, go ahead.
So, you talk about putting it all on the line, right? I know you're competing at, the highest level, right? Pro and limited. You had mentioned something, about some of the changes in the engine. Last year, for the year of 2022, the displacement of the motor, was that a 6.6 liter at that point?
It was like a 440.
Okay.
Cubic inch, and we're at 460 now.
Okay. That was my question.
Yeah, that's where I was going too. So changing up turbos as well. What'd you go from? What'd you go to?
We went from like a 106 to a 110 precision.
Okay. So you go up the displacement, go up in the charger. Makes total sense. What did you do on the gearing side of things? What was the thought process around that?
It was too easy to launch. We had to slow it. I don't know how you want to say it. Slow it up, speed it up. We had to speed up the tires.
Okay.
Yeah, we going to make it work a little harder on the launch, which we're having to learn all that all over again because we're at the other end of the spectrum.
So instead of being in the pulling arena where, 456, 410, 411, whatever the pulling gear would be, you're now finding yourself lowering the gear set, right, to have a little bit more of an easier launch, right? You don't want to just rip the tires off the line. You want to be able to kind of plant that power and progressively move forward.
Yes. Okay. Yep. But that kills your 60 foots, right?
Of course.
So, and a 60 foot is everything in the game too.
So that really is.
And so now, it's more complicated to get that 60 foot than an average person would think. 4 or 5 years ago, I would have laughed and said, well, that's, I told you guys before, drag racing, no, that's a walk in the park. Well, truck pulling's dumb.
You get those.
I'm thinking back to like you said. I think 5 years ago we had you on the show, and you're like, "Yeah, no, this is my second time ever drag racing." And
No, you think about it a lot. We've had guys that are very pro in they're very much inclined to the pulling, and it's like, oh, drag racing's dumb. Like, what do you do? And then you go to the drag racers, and it's like, you ever sled pulled? It's like, no, you just yank the sled through the
who wants to go 30 miles an hour? Yeah,
I can say, not being great at both, right? They each have their own forte, right? There are different strategies in being able to get a vehicle to launch. Now, in the diesel arena, right, a little different than, a rear-wheel drive vehicle or an all-wheel drive car or any of these different things, right? There's all different tricks and tips on how to 60 foot, but the general rule of thumb is you want to race at a 60 foot.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's off the line.
It is.
I mean, really, if your truck stays together, you should be able to run it down the track. But that's only true at mediocre entry-level shit we're doing.
Of course.
Tony, at your level, what's been your experience with that? With, like, it sounds like the goal here was to not give up a lot of 60-foot time and just have a faster back half of the track. Is that about right? Was that kind of where you were trying to plan these adjustments out to be?
No, we knew, or I feel that we were at our limits with the first gear ratio that we had. And there's more successful people out there, and I know what they're running for gears, and mathematically what we have in it right now should be the best, right? So I'm working, when you're working with Rosler and, Ryan Milliken, we try to bump shoulders and get some of his knowledge to rub off on us a little bit, and hang around the Fire Punk boys and invite Derek Rose to hang out with you on 4th of July, and right, a lot of goose, and his lips get loose. So, and it's great that all these people will help the best that they can, right? Johnny and the boys, we're always over there. What do you think? What do you think? And Johnny and the boys are like, fuck off. You are doing better, faster than we ever have. That took us 10 years, and you guys have done it in 2, right?
So you mentioned someone like Johnny. I mean, I remember seeing his truck years back, like 2013, 2012 at Scheid, right? And to see the renditions of him, in the second gen truck to now, playing around in the pro mods, like, you got into this, and like, you guys came guns blazing, right? You came kind of out of nowhere in the drag racing scene, like, hey, we have something to prove in the Duramax side, and yeah, I'd say there's some chips on some shoulders. There's some guys that took years. I think
it just proves how easy drag racing is.
Oh my god! I mean, it's the technology.
Johnny's crew is awesome. Johnny's awesome. Yeah. It's just funny, when we trying to go soak up some knowledge, and the guys, jokingly are telling us to fuck off.
He's got a good sense of humor.
We're rubbing it in their face,
Hey, I just want some tips from the guy in second place. Anything? Were my taillights clean? I just wanted. I didn't want to walk behind the truck.
Yeah, and and Johnny's holding the record. I don't know how much longer, because Justin's coming in hot, but Johnny's holding 2 records. One in the pro street and one in the pro mod currently. So, those awesome, great bunch of guys. It's enjoyable hanging out, at the racetrack.
Do you think it has been? Do you think if you would have done drag racing for all those years and then gotten into sled pulling, you would have had a steeper learning curve? Like, do you think it would have been harder to pick up than doing it the way you did it, like going sled pulling for whatever 100 years, whatever, and then getting into drag racing? You're like, well, I already know diesel, but like, how to make power, right? Like that's never really been a question out of a dirty hooker diesel truck.
Right.
So is it more just kind of
the team learning the truck and Tyler learning the truck as well?
Tyler, just tell you, I just hold the steering wheel, right? He's like, my only job is the tree, and you assholes have to take care of the rest. But
pretty good deal. I'm just sitting there thinking,
it's pretty honest.
Not in my head. Kid's got it made.
Yeah. No. Tell me he isn't spoiled, okay? I hope my retirement years are good with these brats. But anyways, it would have. So if I was, let's reverse it, and where I was in the drag racing starting out, and I have drag raced a little, very little, but since I was in high school, if I was become very busy in the drag racing and then decided here 5 years ago to start taking truck pulling, it would have only taken a couple truck pulls, and I would have said, fuck it. You guys, everyone thinks everyone's cheating, and it's horrible, right? I mean, when you go to the drag racing, everyone is willing to help each other and friendly, and it's a really good time. And it's a struggle going to truck pulls, kind of, just because
there's a culture difference for sure.
There's definitely a culture difference.
To walk up on somebody else's truck at a sled pull when the hood's up,
Yeah,
you're
going to get
probably
slapped.
see that hood get shut real quick.
You have that out here. I mean, even in like, we probably do more like the work stock stuff, but there's also 2630 whatever. But you'll get this the local town hero. He's done good at a couple pulls, and you come in a truck that they've never seen. You put 5-10 feet on them. All of a sudden, you're an asshole.
Yeah,
and you cheated.
Yeah,
you cheated.
Yeah,
and I know you're cheating because you beat me and I'm cheating. So
okay, I'm not going to get into the politics of that, but the instance that I am thinking about is exactly what happened, and I actually brought a class legal truck to that event. So 100%. I was the only one willing to pop the hood. I'll just say that.
Yeah. Well, we've sponsored events too where our guys are doing the tech. And they come back to us and they're like, hey, this is one of our customers. We know what he has. We worked on this truck. Like, he's not even close to this class. Yeah. And we all just kind of look at each other and we're like, it's sled pulling. It's a county fair sled pull. It's not like a sanctioned, club pull. You're like, just fuck this guy. Let him get his $20 and his fucking ribbon and go home. Like, it's just easier than fighting with him sometimes. And that's something that I don't see when we go drag racing. Like around us, we have 2 big drag race days a year at our local track, and that's where like everybody with a truck. I mean, never saw so many IDIs out together at one time running. But everybody with a truck comes out. Yeah. And honestly, I've never seen an argument or a dispute or like anything like that. And I think I get that same feedback as the classes go up higher, right? As you get into ODSS and things like that. Tony, I want to ask you, any thoughts on Randy Cole and his organization coming back to drag racing? Do you think that's going to beef up drag racing across the country? We may be going to see some like club battles here, like ODSS and
NHRDA.
Yeah, NHRDA competitive.
Well, there is going to be a shootout in Texas this year.
Oh,
damn, look at us behind on the news.
Dude, I told you we need to get Randy on.
I know, you're not lying.
Literally talked about it last week.
Yeah. Well, and it's pretty cool to give the guys over there on the west side some events for them to go to and to grow, to grow over there. So I think it's going to help I'm hoping it's going to help the sport. It's we'll see some of the numbers down, and I hope there's a lot of word of a lot of new trucks coming out in the pro classes. We didn't see that at Rudy's, but usually they say that the first race is tough. Not many, there's a lot of the new trucks that just aren't quite ready yet. So maybe we'll see a lot more come out at UCC. But yeah, having that the West versus East is that'll be cool. It gives them guys some practice and run their stuff. We've always had an advantage in this area. Indiana, Illinois, maybe some Ohio and Wisconsin have always had a advantage at truck pulling. California, that area is way behind. They're like 5 years behind us in truck pulling. And I'm wondering if the drag racing isn't going to be a couple of years behind. We'll see when we go to Texas, right? And
well, that's something that I wanted to kind of touch on as you were, going through that. I remember, early on, getting into the diesel stuff, you would open up a diesel world, open up a diesel power mag, and a lot of the drag racing was NHRDA based, and it was all like Texas, West Coast, right? It was all West Coast, West Coast, West Coast. Anytime you really saw something in the Midwest, it was more dirt, sled pull, that kind of thing. There were drag racing events like your Scheid and TS had theirs, and I remember back then it was all like mechanical injected 12-valve Cummins, Scheid, Hazley style trucks.
Wasn't there a group though that raced, like a club that raced like something equivalent to NHRDA that was out east? Excuse me, before ODSS?
I'm not sure. I thought ODSS was because NHRDA was no longer a thing.
Yeah. We're going to have to ask some people about the timelines around that.
But it's just, it's crazy to me to think, like, you know, Tony, to your point, like Midwest is very diesel rich, right? Like the Midwest is, like, in my opinion, like the hub, right? And everything else is secondary to what the Midwest can offer with all some of the best shops in the country, you know, whether it's fabrication, tuners, you know, just everything and anything, you know, in between. Yeah. But it is cool to see, you know, we saw it with UCC, bringing guys from Canada into the U.S., bringing guys from the West Coast, East Coast, South, all in one spot. But now having, you know, like you just mentioned, the NHRDA, ODSS kind of thing going on in Texas, it kind of brings the best of the best in a racing application to see, okay, well, you know, you have a fast truck, I have a fast truck. Let's see, you know, what your area has to offer in a sense. You know?
Yeah. Well, I think we're hitting on a big point here, which is this is kind of the driving idea behind UCC, right? Yep. Is like, let's get the biggest, baddest trucks in the country. I don't care what you're from. I don't care if you're a sled puller, if you're a dyno queen, if you're you know, a drag racer. Let's bring all the trucks out here. Let's see you go through a multi-event competition, and let's see who can have the biggest swing and dick at the end. Tony, you guys rocked it last year. How do you feel about your chances this year?
We're going to just try and go do our best.
What's a win for you this year? What does that look like?
First or last?
Yeah, again, Sunday afternoon, I'll let you know how we did.
Okay, so one thing I noticed last year was you guys on the drag race day wanted to get through the UCC drag racing early, so that way you would have the rest of the day for ODSS. How's the schedule look like for you guys this year? Is that going to be your same strategy?
I'm sure they're going to make it available for us, you know, get it to work for us. You know, they're going to want to accommodate us running both again. If, you know, that was a pretty good deal for us for the past 2 years. I mean, we've won the ODSS and won the drag racing portion of it. So
the field is changing too, because Ziegler told us not competing.
Not competing.
Well,
ODSS yes, but
not competing in UCC. Do you guys take some time to scope out your competitors for UCC, or are you more focused on ODSS?
I don't know who all is for sure competing in UCC, and I don't waste a bunch of time trying to figure out who is competing at UCC. We're just going to go do our best, right?
Yeah.
Now, for the ODSS, yeah, of course, I got some of those numbers sitting in the back of my head and hoping that we can do better. And, you know, I'd love to take the first place in the ODSS again, but there's guys stepping up, right? So the fast truck is going to be getting a good transmission in his truck, so he should be back competitive because he's nonstop having training issues, but he's got a good truck. So, and Ziegler is, you know, he's got fire punk in his pocket. I mean, those boys are no joke, and that truck rocks too. So we just got to go do our best and hope it's enough, right? We can't get bogged down with having them guys battle us and they're mentally battle us, right? We got to try to keep a clean thoughts and don't let something stupid slow us down.
I like that. Keep the focus on the track. Yeah. You do that, everything else will take care of itself. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, I like that. Man, it is shaping up to be an exciting year for UCC. I'll tell you that. Yeah. And ODSS, I think we're going to have some really, really interesting outcomes here. I can't remember the last year we didn't break a record, at least by July. So I'm expecting to see that. I'm going to be interested to see who pulls it off and
It's
what
going to be
record
Tony,
they
of course.
break.
It's going to be
right.
Diesel, so.
Right. I love it.
Well, ODSS, Maddie is just knocking it out. She's doing awesome. Some of these guys, the Stainless is, they did some records at the last race, along with Maddie. It was a good watching them guys making some passes, right?
Yeah.
Breaking records. So, we want to get up in that, back in there, breaking some more records. I mean, we're still holding the quickest Duramax, but it's not enough for me yet. So, and Derek, I mean, last year he knocked out some fast times with his truck. Unfortunately, not in Pro Street weight, but for four-wheel drive, I mean, his truck was rocking for four-wheel drive. And he's done some work this winter and hoping that that's going to make him faster yet, So, I mean, he'd do pretty good competing in the Pro Mod class, but, he's, I don't know. We're trying to have fun, not get overheated, cut down on the sunburns, and taking more steak over to the Fire Punk tent because, man, I tell you, in North Carolina, they grilled our Levon threw our steaks on his little green egg there, and I've never, ever in my life had such good steak.
So you travel across country to go race and eat steaks, is what it sounds like.
Yeah, I'm packing steaks. That's my main thing. I might forget nitrous, I might forget diesel fuel, but I'm not gonna forget the steaks.
Well, I can't think of any better way to end today's episode. Tony, thank you so much for joining us today and carving out some time to talk with our listeners. We're excited to see you guys out at ODSS and the UCC event coming up here first weekend of June. If anybody wants to follow along or get some DHD products, where can they find you?
So, multiple places, right? So, dirtyhookerdiesel.com. We have most all of our stuff on there. We're going to have some new stuff at UCC. We will have a booth there, and hopefully we got some girls there that guys can sign their chest. Boy, that was a big hit last year.
That really was. Our booth was right next to yours. You
Yes.
Quite the commodity.
Yes. Yep. And then if they want to call the shop, they can call the shop at 479-0444. Just about gave them my cell phone number. But of course, my cell phone number is plastered all over the place. So if someone needs help with something, they can call my cell phone.
What a terrible idea to say on a podcast. Don't call fucking Tony Burkhard's cell phone number. If you need help, fucking get
call
on
Paul
YouTube.
Wilson's cell phone number.
Yeah, call my cell phone number. Let me look it up. Get on YouTube. What are you doing? What are we doing?
Right.
All right.
Well, I take such pride and joy in helping guys. Watching, we get on that Facebook and there's guys that are struggling, and I just, feel like Sunday night, I feel like I want to help the guy out, and I'll throw my phone number out there and give me a call, and I'll walk them through proper diagnosis. And there's so much garbage out there.
Yeah, that's true.
80% or 90% of the stuff that people they'll comment on a post, and I just shake my head. I'm like, you have no fucking clue what you're talking about. But I don't want to put that on Facebook. I just hear, if you want help, here's my phone number. I feel like helping someone today. So, of course, that's my life, right? Firefighter and EMT and whatever, foster kids and foreign exchange students. Everything I do, I just enjoy helping. So,
That's better awesome. Man than I. Don't fucking call my cell phone. That's how we're going to end today's episode. Guys, no, for real, though. Thank you so much for listening. This has been Paul Wilson.
And Chris Ehmke.
Have a great day. Thanks for joining us today, guys. This has been Paul Wilson.
And Chris Ehmke.
Make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll talk to you again soon.
If I can be an expert at something, that's maybe doing podcasts. I don't know.